This is fun. I like doing this sort of thing. Ham Radio 2.0, we're going to talk to some more YouTubers today, some smaller channels, maybe some newer channels. Again, I use the word smaller again. I don't really mean it that way, but newer channels who don't have, I think all of you guys are under 1,000 subs, maybe one or two of you over 1,000 subs, which is right in the sweet spot of where we did last time. And like I said, it turned out really well for all those channels. It was a really popular video on my channel, and I wanted to do it again. If you are watching this episode on YouTube right now, whether it's on the premiere or the replay, and you have a small YouTube channel yourself, shoot me an email. I'm good on QRZ. It's just kc5hwb@gmail.com. Love to get you on the next recording because I'm probably going to do this again next month in April sometime. So let me welcome Frank. I hate that you're at the top left of my screen here. So so everybody knows Frank, of course. Let me welcome Shane, Tom, Chuck, Colin, Doug, and Leah onto the channel today.
Good evening.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
everyone.
Thanks for being here today, everybody. I'm going to say guys, but I'm going to try to say everyone instead of guys since Leah's here with us. So I think that Colin and Doug, I know it's y'all's first time to be on my channel. Shane, I can't remember. Were you on the happy hour last time or no?
Yep. Yeah, okay. Last month I did the happy hour with
you. Okay, good. I'm just going to go through everybody for the top of my screen, from the top center to the bottom, and then back to Frank, because Frank's going to go last, as I said. So just want to welcome everybody to the channel today, and I want to give each of you 5 to 7, maybe 8 minutes. Just talk about your channel, talk about how you got started, talk about what goals you want to focus on. Doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Just a high-level overview is great. So, Shane, I'm going to let you go first. Good evening. Welcome to the channel. And you do POTA videos, so I'm already a fan of your channel.
Oh, thank you.
But tell us all about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Shane, and my station is this side of the radio. And so kind of the genesis of the whole project was I was answering a CQ one night from a gentleman named Vince. And he said, hey, you should come over to this Discord channel that we've got set up. And that's where I ran into Joe, the K5YVY. And after hanging out with those guys for a bit, I ran into, well, I've seen your stream and some of the other YouTube streams. And Joe was showing me his live stuff. And he said, you should probably join the YouTube group and put some content out there. And I've been a photographer, amateur for a while, and radio came back up because of the pandemic. So I was like, you know what, why not combine the best of both worlds? So this side of the radio is kind of like answering a CQ, and you're having a QSO with someone, and it's just me saying, hey, this is the radio that I've got. This is what I like to do with my radio. These are my hobbies. This is what's going on. So it's kind of it's a virtual QSO from my point of view, sharing it with everyone else. And sure. I didn't see anything like that on YouTube, and I think from the feedback that I've gotten so far, people kind of enjoy seeing content presented in that way. And it's a mixture of vlog style, as well as there's some equipment reviews coming. I'm going to try to dive into setups for POTA. POTA's what really got me into this, and I didn't think that I was going to enjoy doing Parks on the Air. For those that aren't familiar with what POTA is, it's Parks on the Air. And I really didn't think that I was going to be that into Parks on the Air until I went and did my first activation over in Garland, Texas, and man, it's addicting. It's like crack.
It is. It is. It totally is. Yeah.
So after your first pile up where, you pull out that CQ and then you get 50 people calling you at the same time, you're like, what did I just step into?
Yeah.
So I wanted to share that. And I said, everyone should, for those that are hunting, they don't realize what it looks like from the activator's point of view. And so that was the first video that I put up was my first activation. And then I wanted to show, I was like, oh my God, hey guys, this is what you're doing to us. This is the misery that we love so much that you're putting us into. So, but that's kind of the gist of it. There may be some home brewing stuff in there. There may be some cigars in there. It's kind of cool. Just a little bit of what I do in the pastime.
Cool, man. That's great. So tell us the official name, and for everybody watching, all the links to all of these channels will be in the YouTube description below, so you'll be able to click on them. But just tell us the official name of the channel.
Yeah. So the official name is This Side of the Radio.
This side of okay. Yeah. I heard you say that, and I thought that was right, but I couldn't remember for sure. So, good, cool, man. Well, thanks for being here. Yeah, Parks on the Air is really addicting. I agree. I know that I've had a lot of people come by my channel and say that they like it because they live in a HOA restricted area and they can't put up an antenna at home, or at least not the one they want. So they go out to a park and they set up whatever they want to, and even though it's temporary, they're able to make all kinds of HF contacts, and working pilots is always fun.
Absolutely.
So good deal. Thanks for being here, Shane. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, you bet. Tom, you're next. National 3 Weather Service.
Hey.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, everyone. Well, my channel is Tango Oscar Mike Adventure Radio. When COVID hit, it didn't affect me at first because I've been working from home for a number of years. But you forget that you leave your home all the time to go out to eat and everything else. So I needed an escape, and I started going out into the woods and hiking. And backpacking a little bit, taking my radio and stuff, doing POTA activations. I had been a POTA hunter for a while, and I started going out into the woods and adventuring and backpacking, and found I really like it. And then when Josh did a video, and Jason, you mentioned it too, that YouTube needed more content creators, that's why I got started. So I'm actually new to backpacking. I've learned a lot in my less than a year that I've been doing it. I've been out this winter and everything else. But my channel is going to be based around my adventures. I love going to new places and exploring new state parks on trails that I've never been before, and try to find a place to set up and activate. I like to get away from the parking lot. I will do parking lot pull-up activations because some parks they don't have hiking trails, but I do that. I'm going to plan on doing some builds. I just did a build last night. The video is going to be released tomorrow. I like messing with Raspberry Pis and doing some digital traffic. The Aries coordinator for my county, so there'll be probably some Aries events in there showing you that side of it and what I do for that. And also, I live on a nice chunk of land. So I like to do, practice bushcrafting and setting up shelters. I did my video of setting up inside a snow cave that I built in the backyard, which I'm very sad that it collapsed the other day. Finally.
I saw that video was really cool. I watched that. It was part of our Monday Night Ham Radio, I think, and I was just like, I should have done that when we actually had snow in Texas last week. But yeah, we weren't really thinking along those lines. But that was a cool video.
I tried to build a snowman 4 times for my video. 4 times, and every time it wouldn't compact. So I don't think a snow hut would have worked well.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, that's the first time we've had that much snow in 8 or 9 years.
Wow.
We had 2 feet of snow on the ground, so I was like, I got to do it. I got to do it.
Totally.
And it was a ton of work. I couldn't believe how much work that was. So that's why I'm sad that it's all melted now. There's actually no snow anywhere else in my yard. Maybe except for beside the driveway, except for that pile that's still in the backyard. It hasn't melted yet, but it's all, compact. It's only about 2 feet tall now, but no, that's what my channel's about. That's my plans for the future. I'm looking forward to the warmer weather and getting out. There are a couple of soda peaks in Pennsylvania near me. They're about an hour away, hour and a half away. So I plan on trying to do those as well. One is actually the highest point in Pennsylvania. So, but yeah, I go to West Virginia, Ohio. I'm right on the border of all those states. So I'll make trips everywhere. So
that's great. Cool. I would not have guessed that you just started backpacking from all the videos of yours I've watched. I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have been like, yeah, he's been doing this a while. So that's impressive that you're doing that. And we don't have a lot of mountains around here where I live. So so I try to watch all you guys who do soda stuff or just parks on peaks, I guess, however you want to say that. But that's great. That's good. Good. Thanks.
Well, I've always been an outdoors. I've always been an outdoors person, so it just kind of fit right in with everything else I do. So
sure.
No,
sure.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Definitely appreciate your time tonight. Cool. Okay, Chuck, you're next on my list, so I'm gonna give you the floor for a bit.
All right. Thanks, Jason. I'm Chuck, KK6USY. Ham Radio Adventures is that's actually my channel with my call sign there. And I got started. I've had a friend that has been on me for a couple of years to start my own YouTube channel. And I just, because I'm not a computer guy, I was like, I don't really like it. Well, then go ahead a little bit, and I go on this trip with out to Mount Pacifico with, and at the time I know Jason and I know Josh are doing YouTube videos, but I didn't realize that I went with what, seven YouTubers.
Mm-hmm.
That not all these cool videos, you know.
Yeah.
So I, well, I think I can do this. I mean, it's a learning process, and Jason and the guys in the group have all helped me a lot. And
I think we're starting to lose your internet there, Chuck.
It's about do it yourself. Of course, actually be better than my normal.
No, it's all right. You're no, you cut out there for a second.
Right now, I'm at my daughter's house.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I do a lot of builds on antennas. I've built Moxons, Yagis, J-poles, multiple types of dipoles. I'm about ready to put out a inside half wave that's going to be about 2 ounces total weight for QRP. It's basically a cross between Adams and another ham. I can't remember his call sign right now. I have it written down at home. And basically a little easier than Adams because his is really intricate, and a little less things to do than the other guys. And I'll post all that up on it. And I've done a lot of builds with battery boxes. I've got 2 different battery box builds, different size batteries. I just did a review on one of the 36 amp hour battery. I'll be testing that pretty soon. POTUS and TOTUS, TOTUS. That TOTUS. Parks on the Air, Summits on the Air, and I haven't done as much as I'd like to do on the Summits on the Air, but that's coming some more with everything that's going on. The adventure part of my station is supposed to be out. I've got a nice little 4Runner and a truck that are both pretty good for off-road, and it's gonna entail going down to the desert like Death Valley. And I mean, we're blessed with all kinds of different areas here in California. I mean, you go on a peak. I went on that one that just, it was peak after peak, and we're making contacts with just HTs and stuff. So that eventually that's going to get more into my channel. But I've done like power. I did a video on power, how different types of power supplies, generators, battery boxes, and all that kind of stuff. And I do some reviews here and there. I'm not the review guy like Jason, but I've kind of waited on those a little bit to get those more towards. I'm starting to do those now. I've seen that most of those have done fairly well outside of one, and I can't believe that didn't do better, but it's probably me. But I'm enjoying it. I'm retired. I did 35 years in the fire service, and I retired like years ago. And this is the life expectancy for firefighters is not great, especially if they don't do anything. So I'm going to get busy, stick around and see all my grandkids as long as I can. So other than that, it's just come check out my channel. I've got a trailer. If you're new, you can see it. And I posted my trailer also, so that because my channel's been around. I started in May, in about the middle of May. I went ahead on my trailer, so I had some footage to do something of actual stuff that I've done, and that basically sums it all up in about 1 minute and 33 seconds. So, but
there you go.
I really appreciate you asking me here, and I know all these channels, so it's awesome. I like all the channels. Leah, she's like, I wish I had half her energy.
My parents don't wish I had as much energy.
Well, I know I don't have to live with you, so
right.
It's a great thing, though.
Don't we all?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wish I had some more of the. I'm not an emotional kind of guy, so sometimes I kind of come off dry. So I guess anyhow.
I just turn the camera on and I get all. So when I'm out here, I'm sitting at home and. Yeah. When I'm sitting at home, my wife's like, "Are you awake?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm awake. I'm just sitting here."
I promise you guys, the amount of energy I have on my channel is 100% the amount of energy I have at my house, except for maybe a little less, which is kind of worrying.
Cool. Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate you being here, man.
Right.
Great to, yeah, it was great to meet you at Pacifico last year, and hopefully I'll see you again in this summer with that thing that Adam's setting up. That'll be fun.
Oh, for sure. I'll be there.
Cool. All right, great. All right, Colin, you're next on my screen, and your channel is one that I've just recently discovered myself and subscribed to, but I know that you're like it's like what, about 1 a.m. in the morning for you right now? So
yeah, 20 past 1. Yeah, 20 past 1 in the morning here.
Okay.
So
okay.
yeah, so I'm a little bit sleepy. So I had I went to my bed early, had a couple of hours sleep, fell out of bed. I'm actually sitting out here in the garage. So the wife wasn't happy for me. The wife wasn't happy for me to sit in the house and make lots of noise at 1 in the morning. So hence why I was kicked out to the garage. So yeah, my channel, it's relatively new. I'm Colin, MM0OPX, and my channel kind of started with it's really kind of centered around building and using my own antennas. So going back about three or 4 years, I came to the conclusion that if I wanted to work ham radio, I was going to really need to go portable. Certainly if I wanted to work DX. You know, I really have quite a small garden here, and being at the bottom of the sunspot cycle, you know, I wanted to put up my hex beam, but my wife was having none of it. Never mind what the neighbors thought. So I thought I've kind of got to think outside the box here. So I ended up basically designing my own antenna and using that. So that's how it kind of come about. So yeah, so I like to work portable with my antennas, and really my channel's about is what I'm actually working on myself. So the content that I make is you know, basically what I'm up to at that time. So I don't kind of go out to try and make videos that people want to see. If they like them and it gets a lot of views, then great. But I really want to do you know, what I want to do. So yeah, ham radio is my escape here. And obviously we've all been affected different ways by lockdown. So it's given us lots of sort of chance to do things and ham radio wise, and that's kind of what I've been doing. So I've been spending the last kind of year and a half actually building up my portable ham radio setup. But going portable to me is more like it's not so much going lightweight, it's kind of going field day style, but being able to do that on my own. So all my equipment that I set up is everything, you know, I can set it up, you know, as a one-man band. So that's what I like to do. And I like my antennas, you know, the OCD in me, I like them to be as efficient as possible. Hence why the kind of stuff that I use go down, and I've got a little spot down. You'll have seen it in my videos, but a little spot down over salt water. And it's excellent. You know, it's got an excellent takeoff to the States. Nearly every time I go down there, I can hit the States. So yeah, so really developing antennas and kind of showing that journey. And more recently, it's been developing phase verticals. So you know, we're always looking for more gain with our antennas. So I've been working on the Chrisman phasing system. So phasing 2/4 wave verticals, but with a shorter spacing of 1/8 wave phasing. So I've been working on that for 40 meters and 20 meters. 20 meters is almost there. I'm pretty happy with that. So I need to go somewhere else to test 40 meters because my garden's just not quite big enough to get the 40 meter antennas orientated. So yeah, so that, and obviously one of my latest videos there was shortened 20 meter phase verticals. So potentially if you're in an HOA or as planning, we have what we call planning permission here in Scotland or in the UK. So if you have a structure and it's over 3 meters in height, what's that, 15 feet, something like that, 16 feet. If you're over that, then you need to apply to the council and get special permission, and they may not give it to you. But if you're under that height or you're on that height, then they can't do anything about it. So I made that video, and I think that's been quite popular. It's maybe not necessarily the most simple antenna system, but I don't think it's too difficult for those that maybe want to get a bit gain on certain bands. What am I going to do with the channel? Well, POTA is really new to us here in the UK. I think it came to England 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and it's only recently taken off here in Scotland, or it's only recently been, we have an administrator now here, And I'm quite lucky that I've got some parks right on my doorstep. So within probably 10 minutes of me, I've got 2 parks. Well, we call them parks, but they really are, they're more like a kids park than what you guys would say as a national park, you know.
Okay.
But we would call them, say, a country park. So, you know, it's like just a picnic area, you know, maybe a little bit of forest, a river, that type of thing. So I'm going to go and start working POTA. So that's what I'm going to do once lockdown ends next month. We're going to be let out and we're going to be able to leave our houses for more than just work. So my plan is to do some POTA and explore a few POTA sites here in Scotland, because as I understand it, none of them have been activated yet. So I'm hoping to be the first activator of some of those and use my antennas. And this is really, you know, just, you know, it's my ham radio journey, you know, so there's not quite sure where exactly it's going to go. I'll probably do some builds, but it's really kind of centered around what I want to get with the hobby, and that's what I'll share with others. It won't necessarily be the most, it'll be quite niche, I think, to a lot of people. But if it helps 1 or 2 other people out, then, you know, I think that's worth it. So yeah, that's about the size of it.
Cool. Good. Well, hey, that's great about POTA. We take there's a local club here to me that we take a trip. Well, before last year, we would go to Costa Rica about once a year, South America, and they just enabled POTA down there like a year and a half ago. They just started POTA program down there, and last I looked, it was either 13 or 18 parks through the whole country. So not very many at all, but 0 of them had been activated. So I'm like, oh, we got to get back to Costa Rica and activate some parks. That's really fun.
Exactly.
So, Colin, are you the only Scottish YouTuber for ham radio, or do you know of anybody else in your country that does ham radio YouTube?
Not anyone that does videos of any regularity. You know, there's people with literally 1 or 2 videos, but there maybe is some, and I think this is the problem, is actually finding these channels on ham radio, because if they're not on other platforms like Facebook and Twitter and posting, because YouTube just shows you what it thinks it wants to show you, and it's actually hard to find a lot of these channels. So whenever I see a channel coming up, a small channel, I just automatically hit the subscribe, and they're usually American channels. So I'm not aware of any. There may be some, but I'm not aware of any.
We'll see if we can find some. That's great, because I talked to Hayden over from Australia quite a bit, and he's got 1 or 2 other guys down there that do some ham radio videos, but nothing on the scale that he does. But you know, it's interesting to me to see what type of ham radio activity there are in other countries, and what kind of interest there are in videos, to watching videos in other countries like that.
Yes.
So. All right, cool. Colin, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you being here. I know it's really late. If you feel the need to drop off, you can. I mean, feel free. If you want to stay till the end, that's cool too. It's up to you. So I really appreciate you being here. Cool.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. No problem at all. All right, Doug, N4HNH. I said that right. Yeah, N4HNH. Good evening, sir. How are you? Tell us about your channel.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for inviting me. For people struggle with my call sign. So the day I got issued that call sign, one of the guys I worked with at Motorola looked at my at it, and he said, "Not for hide nor hair." So I've been stuck with that for all these decades. So I've been in radio since I was 14 years old, actually getting paid to repair radio since I was 14. So I'm a radio nerd. And but I didn't get into ham radio until I was working at Motorola, and I was surrounded by hams, and they kept telling me, I needed to get into ham radio. So I did. And now as far as my channel is concerned, what happened was, and I do soda. I haven't done POTA, but I do soda. I'm a 1.5 mountain goat, as they call it.
Wow. Nice.
And I'm also what they call a shack sloth, which is all in good fun, but you're the chaser, because we got to have chasers. And so my channel sort of evolved accidentally. What happened was I was shopping for my next HF base station, and I would go down to Ham Radio Outlet, which I live only about 25 minutes from our Atlanta Ham Radio Outlet. And I would go in there, and I kind of had in mind what I wanted, but I was trying every radio under all conditions. So my thing, chasing soda, I would say a guess that probably 70% of soda operators are QRP CW. And I love to chase the folks in Oregon and Washington and California just as a challenge. So I was looking for the ultimate receiver. So I was down there at HRO. Well, let me back up a second. I went looking on YouTube. I wanted to find videos where people would actually show real, situations where, okay, here I'm chasing this guy. He's so-and-so, he's running 4.5 watts, and here's what I'm using. But every time what I would see as far as like, reviews of the radios were more overviews and bling and, look how pretty this screen is. And I'm looking for, I want it nuts and bolts. I want to know, can this thing hear that 5-watt station out there and pull it out of the noise floor? So I'm not going to say what I wound up buying, but I did this study for about 8 months because so I didn't find the kind of videos I wanted on YouTube. So I just started going down to HRO about every 3 weeks and sit there for 3 hours and push the switches and try all the different radios and trying them all under different conditions. And then I did arrive at a favorite radio that it was not the one I actually thought I was going to wind up buying. And the guys at HRO, they clapped when I finally made my decision after all that time. And so when I got home, I started using the radio, and then I got to thinking about it. I said, I'm a bit of an Elmer, and so I know a lot of people who are new to the hobby who don't fully understand what they have as a radio. So I know people that'll go, well, I sold that radio because I bought this, and I said, really, you sold a better radio than what you bought? But they don't know. It's not their fault. A lot of times they just don't know, So I guess maybe the nerd side of me has a little bit of maybe an advantage sometimes. But so I thought, how sad that people are selling perfectly good radios, and really all it was they didn't realize how to combine a lot of the features that the radio has to get the most out of it. So I started shooting some videos with mine, and then this one thing led to another, and now I have people that send me radios and say, would you use my radio and do, I had a guy who sent me his 7300 and his 991A, said, put them up there and do a shootout, and then I would mix my 5000 into it every now and then. I have a lot of people who wanted me to put the 5000 into the mix too, but I just basically my channel accidentally became all about showing how to use a radio in a real world situation. And I try to describe, especially if I've already worked the person, I said, look, I just worked this guy. Let me tell you where he is, what he's running. And this is what I had to do. And then I'll even undo all the things I did, as far as filtering DSP and everything. So this is what it would sound like if I didn't do all this. And so this is how you combine these features to get the most out of your radio. And so it just evolved from that. And I've been doing SOTA for 3 years. So I started filming videos of my SOTA expeditions about 2 years ago, because we have some people that we have SOTA groups on YouTube and MeWe. I have 2 groups on MeWe. One is W4 for the 4 region, SOTA, SOTA, and expeditions, and then the other one is just SOTA, SOT, Summits on the Air, and that one's more for global. And so, we'll load videos up there and photos of our expeditions. We have people that can't get out and do it, wheelchair bound, things like that. So the first time I shot a video was sort of accidental. And then I had this guy come, hey man, I'm in a wheelchair. Would you shoot more of the videos? So that sort of evolved. And I was loading them directly to YouTube or to Facebook, but then I realized later what a dummy, I should put them on YouTube. So I started including those in my channel as well. And so it's just kind of been evolving from that. And then I started, because of the Elmering side of me, again, going back to people don't always understand what they're sitting in front of, and they might get rid of a perfectly good radio because they don't understand it. And I get it. A lot of times I hear that the manuals are not very clear, and people do better by seeing. So I started a MeWe group called Ham/Amateur Radio Elmer's Group. And what we do there is help people. We got about, I would say 35 to maybe 40% of our members aren't hams yet. They found the group, they want to become a ham. So we do some instructional things there. We'll show a question from the technician exam, explain the answer, but also tell them why that's the answer, and tips and tricks on how to remember things. And so that's kind of evolved as well. But it all kind of comes down to, I guess, if somebody asks me, well, what is your channel? What does your channel, focus on? Primarily, I focus on operating procedures and literally my videos are not planned per se. Some of them are, but some of it is just, wow, I just worked this guy. I have a friend, KC4WZB. He says, man, I don't even hear that guy. that's a ghost station. So sometimes it happens that I'll work somebody and say, well, that's an example of a ghost station. Let me show people what I had to do to be able to hear him. And so that's how it evolves. It just happens in that sort of a fashion. And so that's what the channel's about, an accidental channel just from me saying, well, I'll start shooting a few videos maybe in case someone else out there is trying to make a buying decision. And they were like me, they found mostly channels that just showed off screens and didn't really show, here's how I'm going to work the DNR and the filters and all that sort of thing.
Cool. That's interesting because I can't recall ever having seen there's people on YouTube who have done what you're doing, but there's not any like channels that focus primarily on that I recall. So I've seen a few channels kind of do this kind of here and there while they're doing other stuff. This is a radio review, that kind of thing. And I do the high level reviews of stuff myself. But that's interesting. Well, I'm gonna have to go check out a couple more of your videos because
what I mostly found was that, for example, I'd get on there and I would search for, FTDX 101D versus TS990S. And what you find is you get this guy. And a lot of them don't even talk, and they're just listening to the same thing over and over, and they don't touch a knob on the radio other than the VFO. And I'm like, man, use your IPO, use your ATT, use your RF gain, get that guy clear, And I just wasn't seeing that sort of thing. And that's how, to me, I tell people all radios transmit well. If you can't hear them, you can't work them. Right. So I'm after that greatest receiver, and you'd be astonished to find out that from what I found, it's not always an SDR.
That doesn't surprise me.
And I mean,
the
shootout between the 7300 and the 991A kind of proved that.
Yeah. That doesn't really surprise me. So.
And by the way, for clarification, I'm not down on the 7300. I think that radio, the slot that it is in, is perfect for the people that I'm Elmering who are saying everything's complicated. I'm like, well, you can work your phone, you can work this radio.
Right.
Everything has its place. In fact, I tell people, listen, we're having to nitpick these days on these radios because we live in the greatest time there is to buy a radio. You hear people that complain, say, man, I can't believe an HF rig is $600. And I go, here's a 1959 CQ magazine on the back, Drake transceiver, $599. What we have available to us today in this hobby is unbelievable. So you really have to nitpick to try to decide on a radio. And honestly, it comes down to me, what are you going to do with it? Yeah. For hiking, I carry now a little LNR Precision MTR 4B, 7.95 ounces. Why? Because that fits the bill for what I'm doing. And I'm using an NY4G in-fed halfway. So you buy what you need according to what you're going to do. The POTA guys, you know what I'm talking about. Now you guys we can't operate from the truck. You guys can really do it cool. You can have the bumper mount and the big vertical and all that kind of stuff, but you buy according to what you're doing. And so there's not a bad radio per se. There's not the greatest. I think it all comes down to what you're going to do. So thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Hey man, that's great information. I might want to pick your brain later about some other stuff that, have you ever tinkered around with a flex radio?
No, I've watched a friend do it.
Okay.
That's the one radio I didn't analyze because, HRO didn't have one.
HRO doesn't have them, yeah.
And but I do know people who have that radio as well as the 101 and even the 5000, and I've picked their brain about it, and I've got the good, bad, and the ugly, and that's like the people that say, well, Sherwood says. Well, Sherwood is rating RMDR. He's looking at one thing, and if you're a contester, you want to go by his chart. Okay, I'm not a contester. I just want to be able to drag that 4-watt CW station that's up there on a mountain in Washington State, into my speaker.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I would love to have the opportunity to put a flex radio up against a 101, that kind of thing. Because, right now the 101's number 1, the flex is number 2.
Right.
And the FTDX 10 of all things, a little $1,700 radio is number 3 for RMDR.
Yeah. And the 7300 is higher on that list than the 991A is too. So,
isn't that crazy? And yet in my videos on sideband and CW, I showed that, but you got to look at it like this. 7300 is more intuitive, easier to operate. 991A, booger bear to operate.
Yeah.
But if it's all about, can I hear that guy in Oregon or not? Well, I found the 991A was the winner there. I didn't mean to let the cat out of the bag. You ought to watch my video for that.
No, that's okay. But yeah, you're Chuck's new best friend, I bet, because he and I go back and forth all the time because he's a Yaesu guy and I'm a 7300 guy. So, well, hey man, thanks a lot for being here. I'm gonna shoot you an email later tonight or tomorrow because I got a couple of ideas I want you to help me with and see what we can do together. So that's great. Thanks a lot for
I
being
might
here.
get a hold of him too.
Yeah, Chuck, go for it. I know you get along with him.
I might interview you.
There you go.
There you go.
Awesome. All right, Leah, let's give you the floor for a little bit. Thank you for being here tonight. And hey, Leah has done POTA probably just as much as most of us have. So, and given that she's got a lot more life ahead of her than most of us do, you know, she's probably going to be way up on the charts before too long. So, Leah, thanks for being here. Tell us all about your channel, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, you know the POTA activation's bad when you're like ranking your future colleges by how close the nearest POTA entity is. That's when you know it's gotten really bad.
Yeah.
So
you're addicted.
Yeah, right. So I'm Astralia. I am a YL in the amateur radio hobby. I've been in amateur radio for about 4 years now, but for the first like 2 years, 3 years even, I didn't know anybody else my age or anything that was sort of like geared towards people my age, and everybody that I knew in the hobby was these Elmers that know everything. And it's like a fire hose of information. You're just sitting there like holding onto your chair like, I don't understand any of this. So my dad's had a YouTube channel for a while longer than me, almost 2 years now, and he keeps being like, Leah, you got to do a YouTube channel. You got to do a YouTube channel. So last summer I had a bunch of free time and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a YouTube channel. And my first video went crazy because everybody wants to see someone my age having fun in ham radio, because all these old people want to know, like, the future, it still exists, it's still a possibility. So my channel is mainly just following my progression through the hobby. Like, I'll do videos where I try out something I've never tried before. I've got a whole bunch of stuff for like doing digital modes with the G90 that I have, and that's some videos that are going to be coming up in the future. I do POTA activations. I usually do those with my sister, my KD9 POK logger, as I call her. It would be impossible without her. We get the pile up and she's just like sitting there like, oh my gosh, Leah, slow down, and I'm like, it's okay.
That's great.
But yeah, on my channel, I really just like to have fun and to show people that young people can have fun in the hobby, and to show other young people like, hey, like, this is awesome. You should really look into doing this and do it more often. And I even have the YL gang. We did a live stream a little while back. We're gonna be doing a live stream in, I don't even know, soon though, where we're gonna be doing amateur extra test prep, because a bunch of my YL gang friends aren't amateur extras, including me. I've been a general for like 2 years now, and that's something that I'm interested in doing. So I've done antenna builds, I've done POTA activations. I did a 3.5 minute long video where I drove 2 hours to do a soda activation, and got there, looked at the 4 feet of snow and went, my car is not going to drive in that.
That's great.
I did a POTA activation where I ripped the front bumper off of my car.
I saw that one.
Yeah, the car is really just doesn't like the POTA activations, but I love them, so I keep doing them. So yeah, I'm basically like doing whatever I find interesting and trying to share that excitement, that enthusiasm with everybody else in the hobby. And show everybody that, like, above all, ham radio, like, there's a bunch of technical stuff. There's a bunch of, like, you can go in depth on a whole bunch of stuff, and it's really cool for people who do that. But for me, it's all about having fun and sharing that fun with other people. So that's really what I'm doing in ham radio. And yeah, there's me. I took a break from content for a little while because I have a bunch of finals and school is crazy because I'm still in high school, which is high school and YouTube, not a fun mix. But spring break is coming up and I'm going to be cranking out the content, and I'm so excited for it. Plus the snow is finally starting to melt, which means I can get my little, like, less than a foot high ground clearance car into some of these parks again, because over the winter it was not fun trying to get in there. I
bet.
So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about the content that I have been doing. Oh yeah, sorry.
That's fine, go ahead.
I also do a series called NASA News, where I talk about cool things that are happening in space, and I'm doing a series about me getting my private pilot's license and going and spending all my money on flying planes, which is not a decision I regret in the least bit. So there's a bunch of like random content, but it's also just all about ham radio and technology and just having fun in general. So yeah.
Cool. Well, you do some really good videos. I've enjoyed all the ones that I've watched of yours. So
Thank you.
It is fun to see such excitement and enthusiasm in a Parks on the Air video, which yeah, it's good. So thank you for being here tonight. Really appreciate it.
And the NASA videos are very good.
I agree.
The NASA videos are good too. That's where the name Astro Leah comes from, I believe.
Yes, it is. I actually saw that because if you look on like Instagram or all the social medias, all the astronauts, they have, it's like Astro and then who they are.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I'm just gonna like make myself an astronaut by name.
That's awesome.
So what started you doing
Can I
astronaut?
ask you, Leah, what is the name of your channel, Astro Leah?
Yeah.
Yes, it is Astro Leah.
Okay, I want to tell my grandson about it because I'm trying to get him into the hobby, and I don't think he thinks there's people his age that would be, oh, this will be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. It's fun to see some diversity in ham radio because there's so much to do, like POTA, SOTA, radio reviews, all this kind of good stuff, contesting, de-expeditions. I've been on several de-expeditions that are really fun. So I'm really glad that both Colin and Leah joined us tonight because they offer something a little bit extra that some of us don't get to see sometimes being on our side of ham radio. But so appreciate everybody being here. All right, so the moment of the night that we've all been dreading has come. Frank, I'm going to let you talk for a minute.
I'm Frank, G5AHJ, and this is my show now, Take Radio.
I was going to ask you to do something, but you just go ahead. Yeah.
Did I cover it already?
No. I was going to ask you not to do that, but no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Take my thunder away.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead, man.
I'm Tank Radio, man. I've always been behind the scenes for a while, and I've been on Jason's stream for about 2 or 3 years, and having Josh and everyone else egg me on. So when are you gonna start your own channel? When are you gonna start your own channel? When are you gonna start your own channel? That's pretty much the first joke built into my welcome video. If you've seen it, is like, where's Frank? Where's Frank? Well, I'm always behind the camera and never in front of it. So I finally decided to step out and start my own content and put my own spin on it. What's fun of just breaking out videos of talking heads, which everyone who does them is great, but that's not me. That's not my personality. So I try to put all that personality and fun and into whatever I'm doing. I want to get back to doing some Raspberry Pi stuff. I am looking at right now, I'm about to do some more satellites. That's going to be coming up here soon.
And we might have lost you, Frank. And he froze. All right, everybody else is moving, so I know it's not me.
All that energy crashed the servers. Like, we can't handle this energy.
Yeah. They can't handle it. So cool. Well, hey guys, if he comes back, I'll let him talk again. But hey, thank you for being here. Seriously, this is great. I really do enjoy getting more people in front of the whole audience. You know, it took me about 6 years to build the channel to where I have it now, and my channel is not even the biggest one out there. So I kind of wish that someone had been the channel size that mine is now when I was starting out, so I could get some help, as it were. But the cool thing about so many of us on YouTube now, and there's a lot more people out there than just us and just the people who've been on my channel. But the great thing is, I think, because it's there's so much inside of ham radio. Ham radio is really considered a narrow niche, and it is, but it only is really narrow until you get your licensed and get on the air and discover that how much stuff there is to do inside of the hobby. So to an outsider looking in, it's narrow, but once you get in and start exploring everything you can do, it's a really wide niche. And you can, some people will do HF and never do DMR, and some people will do digital modes and never do repeater talking or anything like that at all. But
yeah, there's so much
There
great content out there now
Yeah.
on YouTube that you could watch YouTube every night and watch ham radio stuff and not watch the same thing.
right, yeah, you wouldn't have to worry about repeating yourself or anything
Indeed.
like that.
I
So,
do.
Good. So
We sit
oh,
down for dinner and Dad
no.
turns on YouTube and
The blue
Oh,
screen
yeah.
of death.
You can show this part, Jason. My
uh,
computer is now crashing.
wow.
Oh,
What'd you
no.
do?
I don't know. I was talking about my personality. My computer blew up.
That's staying in the video. I'm just telling you that right now.
Yeah.
By all
Cool.
means.
Oh,
Where
good.
was I? Coming up, I do want to get into batteries. Given the
Oh,
last snow apocalypse, I bet Leah's just laughing at us. You got 2 inches and lost power for 53 hours. And we had 4 feet, and we're fine and driving around like it's nothing.
Yeah.
That's true.
But given that 53 hours, I want to try to solve the lack of power better than what I had. Before, I was just going to stick it out, and I'm tired of that mantra. I have everything else prepped in my life for small disruptions. I'm a little bit of pepper, but I want power for at least overnight. And my goal is to have batteries to last at least 2 nights, maybe a night and a half, and with solar, be able to charge back up to full power on that first day. Hey, look, I think that's a better angle of me.
That's a little bit better. So, well, Frank, I hope you don't mind me saying this, and if you do, I'll cut it out. But no, seriously, yeah, I'm not teasing now. So Frank uses a CPAP to sleep, and we're trying to get him to go on the California Soda Expedition with us coming up in probably June. We haven't set an exact date yet, and he's like, "Well, I need power up on top of the mountain." I'm like, "There ain't no power on top of a mountain, dude." So I think that'd be a really cool video about how to put that together.
Yeah.
And run it on a battery and keep it charged, and what kind of adjustments and modifications you can make to it, something so that it's not so that it's not drawing too much current, and you can let it rest for a few days. I think that'd be cool.
I think that's going to be the next series on my channel.
Cool.
I'm in the same boat as you, and I do soda. This gives me 2 6.5-hour nights of sleep with my CPAP, or one night, and it operates my radio.
Just need
And how many amp hours is that, by the way? Amp hours?
Oh, this is a 12 amp hour Bioenno.
Okay. Yeah,
I have it right now.
That's a Bioenno, but yeah, I couldn't tell what size it was.
Yeah, 12. It's a 12. I carried that on my first soda outing, thinking I needed it, and then everybody was laughing at me and telling me about how ounces equal pounds.
Yeah.
And I had to get the kitchen scale out, and they did intervention on me. They got the kitchen scale. So now I carry around a little bitty LiPo battery.
Yeah.
You got to do grams.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But
okay.
I have to deal with the CPAP thing myself.
Yeah. I think that's going to be an interesting topic. We talked about that on our Snowmageddon live stream, Frank, and I don't know if you ever went back and read the comments on my video, but a lot of people had comment on that. Oh, I have to do that, and I do this, and I do this, and I do this. A lot of people could relate to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people were also pointing to some of these large auxiliary battery systems that are pretty good and all, but I kind of want to build it for myself out of a smaller ammo box, and I feel like I can get more amperage out of it, and then I could tweak it. But from there, if we decide, hey, look, the off-the-shelf solution for $120 is going to give me everything I need, yes, that's an answer. Let's do it.
There you go. Cool. Well, hey, guys, we've been going for 45 to 50 minutes, something like that. So that's pretty good timing for everybody. Thank you all for being here tonight. Any last words from anybody real quick?
I just want to say...
Go ahead, Tom.
I just want to say that I'm a little disappointed, Leah. I was looking for you to be live streaming the Mars rover landing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. It didn't work out. I wanted to.
I watched that. I was on pins and needles the whole time.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Weren't you in class when it landed? It was in the middle of the afternoon.
I was supposed to be in class, but I can stretch the boundaries a little bit.
You may have to edit that out.
Yeah.
High school mentality.
Yeah.
Do I have
Yeah.
to be there? Can I?
Yeah. Okay,
I had
good.
something for Leah also. If you want to do 3 or 4 feet of snow, come out now to California. We'll take my 4Runner. We can do that.
Yeah, there's
gosh.
so much snow right now, and it's like right now it's like 40 degrees, but last week it was like negative 40, which was not fun. And
It'll be 70 out
Texas.
too. It'll be 70 degrees too when we get up on the top of the hill. So
yeah,
Totally.
I'm ready for the snow to melt. It's been here since mid-October.
Ouch.
all right.
I'm
Gosh.
back.
Leah, I have a
Hey,
question
there
for
it
you.
is.
Yes.
How far along are you on your pilot stuff? I'm an instrument rated pilot also.
Awesome.
So I have to
Okay.
go. So
Okay.
I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
on.
So I have like 10 hours right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. The main issue is like the money. So I'm like
Oh, yeah.
working and like pacing out my flying and stuff. But I've done takeoffs by myself. I've done all sorts of stuff by myself so far. And it's so
That's
much
awesome.
fun. It's insanely fun.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, guys, thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate everyone's time tonight. Again, I will when I post this, I will let you know. Hopefully see most of you on the happy hour a week and a half from now. And I'll just keep in contact with all of you. And we'll probably do this again. You know, I want to try to get some more channels on here and get some more content creators added to the list. But I would welcome all of you back. And Tom and Chuck have been on my channel a bunch, besides Frank, obviously. Tom and Chuck have been on my channel a bunch anyway. So I will.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
try
always
to
a good time.
keep
Absolutely.
keep you guys in the loop and see what else we can do together. So thank you for being here. Everyone wave bye to the camera and we'll call it even right there.
73.
73 everybody.
Bye.
73.
73 all.